Hello, friends. I'm Brian, and this is Gizmo Board Games. Today, I am bringing you a review of Rumble Nation, a game designed by Yogi Shinichi, released by Hobby Japan, and now 77 Spiel, I believe, is bringing it a more worldwide release because this was a Japan-only game, and you can find it other places. Like I got mine through a game store that imports games, but it's not or wasn't as easy to get your hands on until now that it's been re-released and updated and things like that. But what is Rumble Nation? Well, let's go ahead and talk about the how to play before I get into my Gizmo thoughts. Basically, Rumble Nation is an area control game that takes place in two stages. In stage one of the game is where you're putting all your samurai, I guess, out onto the various districts of Japan. And each of those are going to be randomly determined their value, so to speak, by having tiles on them numbered 2 through 12. And those represent summation of two dice. So snake eyes being 2 and double sixes being 12. On your turn, you are going to do basically one of two things. You are either going to roll 3 dice and put your troops onto the board based on the results of that die. Two of those results are going to be a summation, and that's going to dictate the zone that your troops are going into. And the final dice dictates how many troops are going into that zone. If it's a 1 or 2, 1 troop will go into that zone. If it's a 3 or 4, 2 troops. And if it's a 5 or 6, 3 troops. So you're kind of balancing, sending your troops out into the various zones as best you can. And you're, again, playing kind of an area control game. But that's for the second half. The other thing you can do on your turn is take one of the available cards for that round. There's going to be one more than the number of players. So if it's a 4-player game, there are going to be 5 kind of helper cards out there that anybody can take. But once you take a card, that card is off the board for the rest of the game. Nobody else can take that specific card. And they're going to do various things, move your troops around, kick other troops back out, things like that. But the other thing that happens when you take a card is now you are locked out of taking any more of those cards. So basically only once per game can you take any of those side cards. So you really want to be strategic about when you do it. And those cards will just go away once somebody places their last troop on the board. So you want to make sure you do it before somebody runs out of troops if you're planning on using those cards. And that's basically how the first round, or first half of the game is played. You're going to take turns rolling dice, taking some summation of 2 of those dice and putting troops on the board based on the third die number until everybody basically passes their route of troops. And when you run out of troops, dictates tiebreak orders. So if you're the first one to run out, you will win every tie. If you're the last person to place a troop, you will lose every tie. And that's important too. Because in phase 2, that's when you're going to go through those zones in numerical order. So starting with the zone number 2, you will see who wins that zone, who has the most troops in that zone. And again, if there's a tie, then you look at those tiebreakers I just mentioned to determine who wins the zone. Whoever wins the zone gets the 2 tile, and it's worth 2 points. And whoever comes in second gets half of that, or 1 point. And there's a separate stack of tiles for that. On top of that, whoever won that zone gets these neutral troops to come join them in every zone adjacent to that zone that they have troops in. So if I had 2 troops against 1 troop in that 2 zone, I win the 2 points, and I get a troop or 2, depending on player count, into every zone adjacent where I have at least 1 troop. And then you'll go to zone 3, do the same, zone 4, do the same. So these neutral troops are going to compound as the game goes on, spilling out into those adjacent zones, adding to the power of that zone. So a zone you weren't winning after the end of round 1, you could now be winning because you've got those reinforcement troops coming in and giving you those numbers. Every zone, again, whoever wins it is going to get the point value of the zone, and whoever loses it is going to get the point value of the zone rounded down. So zone 3, second place is going to get 1 point as well. And basically you just do that until you go through all 11 of the zones, so the 12-point zone. And that's it. After that, you just add up your points and see who won. That is literally all there is to it, so I'm going to go ahead and get into my Gizmo thoughts. First, what do I think is good about the game? Well, it's ease of play, super easy to play. Roll dice, place troops based on dice rolls, and then one person doesn't even have to be everybody. Just one person kind of needs to know how to run the area control portion of it, which is also super easy. But making sure that you're counting and distributing the points and the troops to the adjacent zones, etc. Nothing hard about it. The math numbers are 2 to 12 or 1 to 6, depending on if you came in first and second place. Simple math usually adds to about 40 points per player. So if you can kind of do math to 40, you should be able to play this game. And the thing about this game, I went through the review in like 4-ish minutes, or the how to play in like 4-ish minutes. The game is quick. You're rolling dice, you're placing troops, rolling dice, placing troops. Eventually, you're going to run out of troops. You start with like 15, 20. I don't remember the exact number. So once everybody runs out of troops, you move on to a relatively quick look at each zone one at a time, place some reinforcements, look at the zone, place reinforcements, and then do simple math. Even in a 4-player game, this game's over in probably a half hour or less. So I just love how it's easy to play, it's quick, it's a great filler game. But there's a good amount of strategy involved despite the randomness, because you do want to look at, maybe I only need one troop in this zone because I'm going to win 3 adjacent zones. So that one troop could turn into like 7 troops by the time we get to that zone. But how many troops are they going to have from their adjacency wins? So it's a lot of strategy, a lot of strategic moving around of the troops, putting them in the right place where you want to try to win those higher value zones. And so I just really enjoy that there's a lot of strategy, even though it's a really easy game. And you don't even have to know how to be strategic to play it and probably have fun. So even if you're not that strategic about it, you still got a good chance to score some points just because you're going to get first and second place. Although you do want to be a little strategic. And those cards just add that extra depth of strategy for timing the best play with those cards to get yourself set up for where you need to be by the time the second phase comes into the game. What do I think could improve about the game? Well, is it too random? Sometimes you just can't get anybody into zone 1 or 12. Those are the hardest rolls to get because you need 2 1s or 2 6s out of 3 dice. It's doable, but you're more often going to be in like zones 5 through 10. And that's just the nature of the dice rolls. No matter how hard you try, sometimes it just comes down to a little bit of randomness. And another maybe improve. I don't know. I like it. I enjoy this game, but it does kind of feel almost like 2 partial games because you got the putting your troops out phase, and then when that's done, it's a completely different hands off kind of self playing look at what happened phase, and that's fun. But the game part of the game is only half of the game, and the rest of it is just kind of the results of that. I still really enjoy it, but that I could see how it could put some people off. Is it easy to play? Well, I mentioned this in my what was good about it. Yes, it's very easy to play. Roll dice, do a little bit of math, put troops on the board, maybe strategically take a card, or just ignore them altogether, whatever, and do some simple math. Um, so very easy to play. Like I said, pretty sure 7-year-old and onward could pick up this one pretty well. More of it. Is there enough in the box to keep you coming back? Well, the randomness of where each zone is going to change because those tiles can move around. So every game board is going to be different, at least as far as the values of each zone and how they're next to each other. The dice randomness creates some randomness of it for sure. And then you've got a decent sized stack of cards that you're using as those kind of extra action cards that are variable as well. So there's a lot of variability in how the game's going to function, but it is the same game from game to game. You're always rolling dice, you're always placing troops, you're always doing that look at what happened aspect in phase 2. So there's good variability, but I could see this game getting samey if you play it a bunch in a row. I could definitely pull this out and play a game or two every week and probably feel like it hasn't worn out its welcome. But I'm not going to pull it out and probably play 5 or 6 games of it in a row, even though that would be enough to fill a couple hours of a game night. So it really comes down to how much are you playing it repeatedly, I guess. But I think there's enough in the box to keep it fresh. And finally, is it original? And this is where I usually compare it to other similar games, but I don't have any similar games that I can come up with. There's some area control games for sure, but they're generally playing differently than this, or they're connected to some other game mechanism, where this game really is just roll dice, place troops, area control. So it is similar to area control games, but different enough that I find it fun. So if you've got anything else below that you think is close to Rumble Nation, let me know because I'd definitely be interested in checking that one out. Do I feel like it's original? Yes, I do really like what it offers in its simplicity but fun, almost strict area control game. It doesn't overstay its welcome. I really enjoy it. And so for my final thoughts, I give this one a 4 out of 5 gizmos. It's been on or around my top 50 favorite games list each year. I've done that. Honorable mentions, I think, a couple years, and then actually in the list a couple years. I do really enjoy this one for what it is. It's a great area control filler game, easy to play, lots of fun. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Rumble Nation if you've played the original one like I have, or the new one. If you know anything's different with it, please let me know if it's worth me checking out because already got the game. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, more reviews, top 10 lists, general chit chat about board games and things in the board game realm. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.